Carol Burnett,
Yes.
welcome back to Turner Classic Movies.
I'm so thrilled to be here again with you.
So am I. I want to say happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you.
You are back with us for 2 more evenings of programming. We're going to show some classic films, followed by the Carol Burnett Show spoofs that you did of these movies. I want to reiterate to people who might not have seen us do it last year, this was an idea that you and your husband Brian had, and we're so grateful that you did. But what's different about these 2 nights that we're going to do tonight and tomorrow is that it's musicals that we're going to talk about. So I'm doubly happy.
Well, the thing, too, is that when we went into syndication, they cut all the music out. And so it was a half hour of the sketches. So a lot of people who grew up with our show grew up with syndication. So they don't know that we ever did music.
Right.
And so, and that was one of my first loves.
Of course.
Was musical comedy.
Yeah.
So it was just a given that and what was great about these is that all of them that we're going to see were original music and lyrics by our writers. We didn't do any standards, so it's all original.
Which is shocking when you think about how quickly you must have had to learn all of these.
Oh, yeah.
But you did it. Well, the first movie that we're going to show is Little Miss Broadway from 1938, of course, starring Shirley Temple.
Yes.
And when I was doing the math, I realized Shirley Temple was 10 years old when this movie came out. You, Carol, were 5 years old when this movie came out.
Right.
Were you a fan of Shirley Temple's growing up, or did you discover her a little bit later on?
I was a fan growing up. You know, all the kids were, and she was so adorable. Just the innocence about it. And also, this was during the Depression. We were Depression babies. That's why she was so popular, because she helped people forget what they were going through if it was only for 90 minutes or 2 hours. And I think that's why she was so popular. Of course, so talented. And every mother who had a little girl wanted her daughter to be the next Shirley Temple and would come out to Hollywood to audition and everything. But there was only one Shirley.
And it's just amazing to watch a film like this and see how she accesses her emotions. It doesn't even seem false. It's cutesy at times, but you believe it. You believe the happiness, you believe the despair.
Well, I hope she wasn't that sad when she was doing a sad scene.
But I was sure someone would come over, especially today.
Why? What's today? Come on, tell me.
It's my birthday.
There was something about her that was able to bring these emotions across in a way that was just really powerful.
Right.
The movie is directed by Irving Cummings, who is going to be someone that we'll talk about tomorrow night as well. And she's surrounded by a great cast here. Of course, George Murphy, future U.S. Senator. And he's not someone that I feel like we come across or show his films that often on TCM, but he's got such a likable presence and his dancing is great.
Yeah.
And then what about Edna Mae Oliver as the villain, Aunt Sarah? I mean, that's a character. When I was, looking at this movie, I was thinking you could have played a character like that, and you probably have a few times.
300 and some odd shows. I must have.
Right, exactly. Your spoof, which we'll show later, is called Little Miss Showbiz.
Yeah. Now, what we're doing is not a definite takeoff on Little Miss Broadway, but it's a takeoff on the Shirley Temple movies. And in it, I play Shirley, Dimple, Burnett, Peters, and Anthony Newley are in it, and it's one of my favorites.
I can see why. Did you ever get a chance to cross paths with Shirley Temple?
Yes, on the phone.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of personal, but she was having issues with one of her kids about drug abuse. And I had that issue, and thank God my daughter got well. And she just asked me questions about how to deal with it, because I had come out publicly. My daughter and I had, but I never met her in person, but we talked on the phone a bit.
Wow. Well, it's always a joy to see you, and it's always a joy to watch a little Shirley Temple. So let's take a look at the movie. Here it is from 1938, Shirley Temple in Little Miss Broadway. It's always such a delight to watch anything that Shirley Temple is in, Carol, isn't it?
She's adorable.
Adorable. Well, that was from 1938, and then 34 years later, on the Carol Burnett Show, you did a spoof called
Little Miss Showbiz.
Let's watch it.
Okay.
Here it is, Carol Burnett alongside Bernadette Peters and Anthony Newley from 1972, Little Miss Showbiz. Okay, Carol,
Yeah.
there's so much to talk about in Little Miss Showbiz. How did you perfect the Shirley Temple voice that you did? Because
Well, I
it's
don't
dead
know
on.
what was perfect, but there was, but instead of being sunny, well, she had this kind of a little, the way she would do that, you know. But I have to tell you, you know, I would come out and do Q&A with the audience at the beginning of every show. Now, we had rehearsed Little Miss Showbiz all week because it was long. It was 20 minutes, whatever
Sure.
it was. And with the original music, the costumes, just huge, you know, with all set changes and this and that. So before this happened, before we did this particular takeoff, 2 or 3 years before, I had done a really short little skit where I was Shirley. Harvey was interviewing me, and it was just a bunch of short jokes, and I was being Shirley. Now, here we are doing Q&A. We've rehearsed Little Miss Showbiz all week. For some reason, I don't know, a lady raised her hand, and I happened to call on her. I said, yes. She said, I loved it when you did Shirley Temple. She said, were you ever going to do that again? Now, the crew starts to laugh because we've been there all week. And I said, did you really like it when I did Shirley? She said, oh yes. I said, well, I'll see what we can do. We do this elaborate takeoff, and there's a tape stop between when we were going to go to the courtroom. So there was just a moment there while they were changing the set. And I looked out in the audience and I said to the lady, what do you think? And she said, thank you so much.
You just whipped it up on the
She
spot.
thought we'd gone backstage, written the whole thing, did the costumes and all. Thank you so much.
You know, not everyone understands how television works,
But-
Carol.
I mean, the crew
That's great.
was totally cracked up. But the odd thing was that I happened to call on her, and she said that.
It's like almost as if she was a plant, but she wasn't.
No, not
Right.
at all.
That's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Right. I love at the beginning how Lyle Waggoner can't get through the intro without crying because it's just such a
Right.
sad sack
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
And seeing you walk with the tap shoes, that must have been
Tap
fun
shoes
to
on
do.
her pajama bottoms, yeah. And, you know, to have Burnett, my darling Burnett, that she was on a lot. And she was the first guest we ever signed. She was 19 or 20, and we had seen her in a show called Dames at Sea, and we hadn't started the show yet. It was something like January, February of '67, and we were going to go on in the fall. And I went backstage. I said, I'm going to be doing this variety show in the fall. I would love you to be a guest. Okay. So we've been friends ever since then.
And also just the fact that we're watching this sketch of the two of you and it kind of has an orphanage theme.
Yeah.
But this is years before Annie. It's almost like Bernadette, this was her audition for Annie. I also definitely took note of the fantastic lyrics that your writers came up with. You know, grouchy, wouchy, grumpy, wumpy.
Don't be a grouchy woachy. And Harvey is the mean old uncle. And of course, Vicky playing this older woman. We had her do a lot of old ladies.
You were onto something with that, weren't you?
She was great.
Did you enjoy learning the choreography? I mean, you say you're not a dancer, but you are a great dancer. Did you enjoy that part of it, or was it stressful?
It always scared me when I had to do any kind of movement, more so than doing any songs or sketches or anything like that, because I was never trained. And so I just kind of learned what I was doing in front of all these 30 million people a week. That's what we got, because there were only 3 networks then.
Right.
So the audiences for all of us were huge.
Right. There was so much to enjoy. Carol, I'm so glad you're here. Will you stick around? We'll do another one of these?
You can't get rid of me.
Good. All right, well, stay tuned, because coming up next, Carol and I will be back to show a 1935 musical starring Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Stick around.
Next on TCM, Top Hat, then Showboat, and later, Kiss Me, Kate. Pucker up for more TCM tonight.